Welcome back to 5-Minute Knives, the Cal Ripken Jr. of knife channels. Today, we're going to talk about a knife that you guys know I love to pieces. This is the ESEE CM6 wearing the aftermarket scales from the Knife Connection and a custom Kydex sheath by yours truly. So let's get into it. Why do I love this knife so much? Well, I've thought about it because this knife has come and gone in my collection a couple of times now. And I had it a couple of years ago with the red and black handles from the Knife Connection that I really loved. And they just have never restocked them. I put myself on a list. I will say this about the Knife Connection. I've reached out to them a couple times about different things. Their communication is like a B-, C+. That's what I give them. Nice site, nice enough people. You know, they're okay. But I've approached them, from the angle of the channel before saying, hey, do you want to do something? They want nothing to do with the channel as far as, like a giveaway for you guys, some sort of discount. Really nothing. They kind of ignore all that, which is fine. It's a smaller channel and I get it. I'm pestering them. But even when it comes to like customer servicey stuff and things like that, sometimes I've approached them and checked out as a guest so they didn't know it was me, and they're all right. Their pricing, again, all right. But not a very transparent company in my experience. However, I really love what these handles do to the CM6. Now, I didn't mind the flat micarta handles either. They're fine. They're really nice. That being said, these are heavy and contoured, and because of the added weight and the blade is such a chunker, it actually makes this knife much more lively. And especially if you don't have like stick arms, and you're fairly strong, this is no big deal at all to wield around. It's fast and it gets the job done. As a matter of fact, I kind of fell in love with the CM6 above and beyond the ESEE6, which is like a staple. Everybody likes the ESEE6. But for me, the ESEE6 is too wide in this dimension and you get a flat grind. With this knife, so with this you get a little less height and you get a saber grind, which I think will be better. Although you do have a false wedge up here, which, it's going to chew up your baton stick, but I could care less if I'm batoning. Get another stick, who cares? Not a big deal. 1095 steel. I will say this, in the logo I did notice some rust forming, and I live in a very dry climate of Colorado. So if you guys are living in a damp environment or something like that, this will probably rust as soon as you look at it. Just a heads up, right? No sharpening choil. I'm just going to point out all the cons. No finger choil for close work. You're not far away from the cutting edge, but it's not right up on it either. The handle, some consider to be a little thin in this dimension, which is true. I don't mind it. You can't strike a ferro rod on this thing unless you went ahead and removed the coating and or sharpen up a little piece here or something like that. I don't really do that. I would use a lighter. I don't understand this ferro rod obsession that we have. It's cool to have it, and it's cool to be able to strike it, but most of them come with little strikers anyway. What's the deal? Why do knives need that? Some of you guys really prefer it. I know when you send in your Bushcraft knives for sheaths, you often include the ferro rod, and it does have a 90-degree spine, and that's a requirement for you. Hey, not judging, just saying, I don't need that. I have a lighter. I have some really good lighters that are windproof, rechargeable for my little solar panel thing. I don't think I'll ever need to strike a ferro rod on a knife. And the ferro rods that I do pack have little strikers that come with them, generally. So, meh. Plus I have a Swiss Army knife and I could use the back of the saw blade. So there's a lot of things I can do to create fire before I have to go to my knife and, flick sparks from the back of it. So that's not a requirement for me. So, but some of you guys, you may not like that. Now, some people have pointed out the lack of jimping on the spine and they wish there was some there. I don't. It's a nice flat spine. I have a good grip. I can certainly push and whatever. But for Kydex sheath making, the lack of jimping makes this thing a dream to make a sheath for. And the draw, ooh, so nice. As you guys can see, I wear this scout carry in the front of my belt. It does poke out a little bit on this side, not a big deal. I went a different route and put 2 eyelets on the end here. I don't know why I did that, but I don't mind it. It's just not something I do on all of them. Soft loop is how I wear this. It's one direction. So the green with the OD green, I just think looks amazing with the pop of red. It's just such a cool looking knife. The draw is so smooth for, lack of jimping, just makes it smooth. If I ever had to use this knife as a pry tool, I think I have the right knife for it. The 1095 has more give than chip, and it's pretty thick stock, 3/16 I think. It just feels like a mini pry bar. It's not the most skexual looking blade once it's out. However, this knife in its sheath is very skexual. And I think looks very nice. Good looking, piece of equipment here. And I really love the knife. It's a nice cross between your tater digging and actually digging an actual tater, right? Like I could actually dig with this I think the odds of me having to pry with my fixed blade and or dig something with my fixed blade are much higher than my odds of needing to start a fire with the back of it, considering I have all these other options for starting fire. I don't have other options for prying or digging. So if I have to dig, I can probably cut through roots and do a lot of stuff with this. I can baton with it. I'm a hatchet guy anyway. I like hatchets, which I know is blasphemy for a knife channel, but at the same time, this knife is a knife for me. As you can see, it's gotten really no use yet. I have not been camping since I've gotten this version. I'm going to keep it nice. This just sits in my bug out pack. I've tested these before. My last one I beat up pretty badly and it was fine. I ended up selling it actually. So it wasn't beat up too bad to sell. Somebody bought it, especially with my custom sheath with it. They were very happy. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. That's what I feel about the Esee CM6. With a little bit of love, this thing gets really, really nice. Now, you can get a sheath from the Knife Connection. I don't like their sheaths as much, obviously, because I'm biased. I make what I like. I prefer this knife with a taco sheath and the aftermarket scales. There's the retention, just butter, no rattle of any kind. Just a really good looking piece of equipment. This can ride in the front of my belt. I would trust this thing with my life for sure, whatever that means. You know, in a bad scenario, I wouldn't mind having this. The 1095, I told you guys, I'm a proponent of. It's easy to sharpen in the field, and for that reason alone, I really like it. Also, my Esee 1095 stuff has never chipped on me. I've had it roll a little bit, where I can clean up the blade later, the edge, but I've never had it chip. My Becker stuff has chipped on me, a couple of them, actually. So there's something about this Rowan heat treat that is special, often talked about, but I can verify that my Esee knives, the ones that I have beaten up, perform really, really well. So they're either getting the most out of that 1095 or the softer steel, being at about 57 Rockwell, I think, is actually really smart for a place like Colorado where it gets really cold and bitter out and things like that. I've been out in the winter with 1095 from Esee. I had an SE6 that I beat up really bad, and that was fine. So, meh. I'll let you guys know when I start going out camping, probably in the spring. We're coming into winter now. I don't do a lot of winter camping. Plus, I'm super freaking busy. You guys know I started my own company. The Sheath company is doing its thing. I gotta make all these videos. Very, very rare I can get out and really test stuff hard use. So I rely on other YouTubers for that, and I suggest you do the same. What I'm here to tell you is feel, experience my experiences with the knives off camera. You know, I report honestly to you guys, you know that. I have nothing to gain from lying. And as a matter of fact, my trust with my audience is what's making other companies send their stuff to me. You know, they're kind of brave. It actually speaks to the company because they know I'm going to tell you guys what I think. That being said, don't do a lot of hard use testing. It's just not this channel. It's more of a QVC for dudes. You know, I show you the stuff, you make up your own mind. I give you as many data points as I have. I give you my experience with it, and I show the stuff, and then I also promote my sheaths. So that's the function of the channel. But on a whole, the Esee CM6 has become one of my top favorite knives of all time, and this one was actually sent to me by my buddy Caleb in New Zealand. Shout out, buddy, how's you? And I'm never, ever, ever gonna get rid of this. The T5 went to a subscriber. I just wasn't, you know, needing to make as many sheaths out of it. It felt redundant to have it. I liked that knife, not as much as this one, even though the T5 is better looking. You know, I got rid of my SE6. Ironically, I'm getting more sheath orders from this, with these scales, by the way, and the flat scales. I get both. But I don't know, there's something about the CM6 that just, I don't know, it just really speaks to me in particular. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. There's my medium-large mitts with that much handle sticking out. Attitude adjustment right here. Oh, one thing I forgot. You guys are probably going to be cranky about this. There's no lanyard hole, which you're going to hate. Personally, I like that. You know, if this thing gets away from me, I want it to get away from me. If I drop it, I want to drop it. I'll get out of the way. I don't want this thing dangling under my wrist if I, you know, release my grip for some reason. So I'm not a huge believer in lanyards. I know a lot of you guys love them, so, you know, maybe start that discussion in the comments. But for me, I don't know. I'm an arm wrestler. I have a really strong grip. When I'm holding something, I'm holding it. If I let go of it, there's a reason, and I want it gone. So I don't care about a lanyard hole, but you guys may not like that. That could be a deal breaker for you. So it's a quirky knife. There's certainly some unique aspects about this knife. As a sheath maker, I can tell you that lack of jimping makes this thing a dream to make sheaths for. And the fact that it just tapers down to this point makes it really fit with the Kydex nicely. As the blade comes in here, it gets smaller and smaller, the space here. So there's not a lot of wiggle after these that I have to adjust or anything like that. I've gotten these sheaths down to a science. I got a nice little thumb ramp here. It suits my samurai sensibilities, even though it's not very Japanese looking. It just has a similar functionality of I could draw and swipe with it if I wanted to. Not so much for the tater digging, but more for the survival element with tater digging, elements to it. So this is the perfect knife for me for survival, because I feel like if I'm ever out there living out of my bug out bag, it's going to be more important that this thing can do tasks than fight with, right? But if I had to scrap, I'd rather have this than the SE6. And I'd rather have this than even the Hungless 2, even though it's a much bigger knife. I'm very fast with this. It's not lightning fast, but when you add these handles, it does pick up the speed of this knife a lot, and you can do a lot more with it. Reverse grip, Steven Seagal. Yeah, this works too. So you have options. I feel safe with this knife, and I feel comfortable working with it out in the woods. Bushcrafty, I really prefer the saber grind to the flat of the SE6. Just on a whole, what else do you want in a fixed blade? Like, this is like my jam. Not too expensive either. You can find them for like $120. The scales are like $50, maybe add another $50 for this. So yeah, okay, that could get it a little expensive at like $230 all in. I get it. But for like the knife I'm going to keep forever, that doesn't sound so expensive anymore. Plus, you don't have to do all this crap to it. The sheath that it comes with is serviceable and fine. If you just wanted the implement, you just wanted the tool, you're $120 in plus shipping, and you're good. You're good forever. Plus, you get Esee's lifetime warranty. You break the thing in any way, shape, or form, they'll send you another one. You can't beat that. So I don't know. I don't really have much bad to say about the Esee CM6, although there are quirks to it. I don't really care. This one is perfect for me, And when I draw it, I'm in the right grip. I don't know. I love this knife. I think you need a few things to bring out like the real charm of it. I think you need these handles. I think you really need a good sheath. A nice taco sheath really suits this well. And she's golden. I think it's a great knife. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you love it, if you hate it, why. I'm not going to beat you up. We can all have our own opinions. You guys know I'm cool about that on this channel. I listen to you guys just like you listen to me. So very, very nice. Look for some giveaways coming up in the very near future. Holiday stuff happening. These companies are sending me stuff to give to you guys. Oh, and before let's test the weight. I got a little scale now, right? So it's 11.2 ounces, just the blade. So she's a little chunker, and you can feel the weight. And then with my sheath, we're talking 13.9 all in. Not bad, not bad. I mean, but it's got some weight. I don't mind that. In my implements and my fixed blades, I like a little weight to them. You guys know that. I'm not afraid of a little weight. I don't understand where everything had to keep getting lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. I get it if you're, trying to move 20 miles in a day or something like that. Every ounce counts or whatever. I've heard that, but I don't mind spending the extra weight for, my blades. I'm going to use the hell out of this. So for me, a little bit of extra chunk doesn't bother me at all. If it was lighter, it'd be faster for fighting, but also a little less robust for your camp tasks. So I think this is the perfect balance for me, for my money, for my mileage, right? You guys can disagree. What's your go-to fixie, the one that you can't live without? And regardless of steel choice or whatever, or quirks, why do you love it? Also, if you guys want a custom sheath, email me at dragonscalejoe@gmail.com and I'll send you a quote. Anyway, that's it for me, and I will see you guys next time on 5 Minute Knives.